Namaste. Welcome to another segment, another installment of me, Magick La Croix. Um, I have a special guest here today. She's been here before. Please welcome Shadow Witch Seductress. How you doing, sis?
Good. How are you? I'm
I'm
doing
doing
awesome.
well. Good. I'm
Awesome.
glad to see you. Um, so, tell us what's going on with you. You haven't been here in a while.
Um, well, I don't really I feel like I disappeared on a lot of people because I found that a lot of people were asking about me, but I have so many people who've been in touch with me, I couldn't tell necessarily because my phone is constantly blowing up. But I had to kind of, take a step back, especially off of YouTube, because a lot of the spiritual community, they be wilding, it's just a lot of stuff going on. And I'm really big with guarding my energy in a lot of ways. But not just with that, I had to take a step back to just focus on me and focus on my family and focus on realigning myself. And then it was a lot less overwhelming. I had to kind of condense everything, just focus on this, and this, as opposed to all of this to get realigned. So, like I said, a lot of people thought I just up and disappeared, and I think I did on quite a few people, but so many people were in touch with me. So that was a whole other thing I was dealing with too. Still dealing with clients, still dealing with family, expanding pretty much. So, but it's good to be back. Definitely, it's good to be back.
And it's good to have you back in the community. There were a couple people who did come to me and said, "What happened to Shadow Witch?" And I had no answer for them. I'm like, she kind of left. But you do look recharged and refreshed. And
Very
you
much
said
so.
that, right? You said that was what you needed, right?
Yeah, I think everybody needs that at some point. I feel like I didn't make that decision for myself. Like we were talking before, we're Virgos. We tend to overdo some shit. We tend to, when we give our all, we give our all. And that puts you in a place of, it's really easy to fall into imbalance that way. And I feel like I was headed down that. And I feel like my spirits were just like, no, wait, snatch the rug right from under me. We're going to force you to stop for a second so you can focus on this and focus on that and realign. And I'm really glad that they did. Um, like I said, I just don't feel like it was necessary. It was 100% my choice. It was something that had to be done at that point in time. It was do or die, you know. And I'd be damned if I'm going to collapse, especially with all these people that are relying on me. So
And so, was it you were taking a break from social media itself, or was it like a break from rituals, spells, and magical work in general, or
oh
was it a
no.
combination of both?
I feel like it was more so social media. Social media can be so freaking draining when you get so consumed in it. And especially as a spiritual leader, a spiritual head, a spiritual practitioner, where you're not just in your own life, you're reaching outside of your orb to reach into other people's lives and help them, that can get really consuming. And I feel like it was going down that hill really fast for me. So as far as social media, I was like, no, there's got to be boundaries for myself that I need to set, for other people, because you know how clients can get. But as far as, working spiritually, that's a lifestyle. That's around the clock. There's no, when you jump into this, you're in this. There was a point in my life when I first got into this where I was really young. I was a little girl. I have a really strong Creole bloodline. So it's like I was running away from it for so long. And I think when I had my daughter in 2012, it got to a point where the spirits were literally fucking with me. Like, oh, where you think you going? This is what you supposed. You think you're gonna just step in here and take what you want and leave? Like, absolutely not. And then that's a whole nother story. But my point is, it's a lifestyle. This is not something that's going to change. That's something that's never going to. If I take a step back, that's something that I'm constantly doing. I work with my ancestors. They have candles, offerings, communication going with them constantly. I still work with clients, readings, workings, rituals, and then my own stuff, because you have to maintain your own shit too. So I feel like me taking a step back was more so from social media. And then it had a really personal, like I said, I don't feel like I 100% wanted to step out. That was like partially my spirit's like, okay, take a step out. And then the other part was me when it comes to the social media thing. I just don't like a lot of the shit that I see in the spiritual community. It's just like you guys, you'll like slander the Christian church, you'll slander this, but it's like what I'm seeing here is just you guys are slapping another name on the church, and you're acting just like them. So it's like I'm not with all that warfare. I'm not with all that. I'm about building, So it's like let me step back, because you can get consumed in that real quick, intentionally or not.
Absolutely true. So, with that being said, did you vote today?
Hell no. I'll be honest, and I know I'll be slaughtered probably in the comments. And I've been on social media today, on Facebook, just like I'm seeing everybody posting their stickers and did you vote? And then one of our friends is like, I'm an Uber driver, y'all have no excuse, and I'm just like ducking, like I'm not even about to go down that alley right now. But no, I didn't. I just, of course, it was a personal choice not to. I don't know. That's a whole nother ball game to really sit here and go into. I just personally don't feel that that's something important.
Okay, okay. Because I'm seeing my timeline is flooded with I voted today, and I'm like, Dora pausing.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said I'm Dora pausing all day today.
The stickers, just everything. It's just been.
Right.
It's and of course my social media page, and that's what I was so surprised about too, because leaving social media, I got a whole new personal account. When I left, I got everything was wiped out. Everything was like not deactivated. It was deleted. So my circle is a lot smaller now personally. And so today it kind of caught me by surprise seeing all the posts. So I do have my second guesses sometimes, like, should I have voted? But I don't want it to be like because everybody else is doing it and I'm just sitting here looking like Little Miss Square. So, but I mean, no, I didn't vote. I'm not interacting. I'm not trying to draw any attention to that defeats the purpose now. I just said up here that I didn't vote, but
Right. I'm glad you said that, though. Not one for politics. I could care less, honestly, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just glad to see you back. How do you recharge yourself when you feel that a break is necessary? Okay, you said that this was more social media oriented. How do you recharge yourself when you're overloading yourself magically?
I feel like there are some things that you have to necessarily do when you are maintaining yourself spiritually, maintaining your life spiritually. Like I said, it's a lifestyle. It's really about laying everything out on the table first and foremost to see how have I been doing things before? How did I get to this place? First and foremost, I feel there needs to be boundaries set. You got to this place of burnout or almost burnout for a reason, or you got to this place of needing to recharge and take some you time for a reason. How did you get here? And that's where you really have to sit down and break things down and really be honest with yourself. What am I doing wrong? And especially if your spirits get in the mix and they're forcing you, or bringing some things to your attention rather blatantly, then there's no way around seeing that. You kind of, personally with me, I had to really put up boundaries, especially with clients, because like I said, you know how they can get, with what I will and will not do. Like I stopped love works, I stopped any dark works, I stopped so many things because people's minds are all over the place. A lot of people don't really understand spirituality when they're running to it as a last resort or whatever resort. So it gets overbearing because you're taking on all of that, you know, pressure from this client or this person in a lot of different ways, whether it's love work, whether it's dark work, whatever it is. But there was a lot of that unnecessary stuff that I kind of stopped. And I focused on the need. What do you guys need? You know, because right now I'm going through that as well with the need. So personally with me, it was a matter of maintaining things like my ancestral altar, stepping back from everything else, not doing so many, you know, readings and things where you can get burned out so easily. I was my spiritual cleanses. That's something is constantly constant now. Like a lot of spiritual cleanses, I cleanse my kids, my home. Like people know when they come over here, if you allowed over here at all, you know. Adelaide's spot is if it feels like home. You can be comfortable. And I feel like that's a huge part of that was the spiritual cleansings. It was the meditating. It was the fixing my environment, whether that was the clutter of inventory, candles and all this, or whether it's, you know, the clutter of stress or the kids running around. And, you know, it's just about getting everything in order. So for me to have recharged, what I did was I just literally cut out about a pretty big fraction of what I was doing before.
Okay.
And I wasn't worried. A lot of people like, what do you mean? This is your way of living. Why are you not on YouTube? Why are you not doing this? I'm like, first of all, spirit take care of me, honey. That's the thing about the answers. That's why I rep for the answers are so hard, because speaking from experience, you take care of them, they're gonna take care of you.
Absolutely.
And they're gonna make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do with that recharge and all that. You know, make sure you're okay, make sure you're grounded, you know, and they're not gonna put more stress on you unless you're just flat out fucking resisting. But yeah, but a huge method for me with the whole reset recharge was cutting off a lot of people, um, permanently and temporarily. A lot of it was just through social media. Like I said, I was still communicating with a lot of people, but it was more on a more balanced note. I remember my phone blowing up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. My guy's like, "Who the fuck is calling you at 4 o'clock?" I'm like, you know, like there's no fucking excuse for that, you know. So it's like you have to set those boundaries. And I just focused on cleansing, meditating, making sure my environment was in a good place, and, you know, just doing what I needed to do opposed to over exerting myself. And it's so easy, especially when it's a lifestyle. So it's just cut that fraction out that's unnecessary and really focus on you. Don't do any more than you absolutely need to do.
That's great, because that's one of the things that I find when I have to reset, recharge. I do a lot of meditation, a lot of spiritual baths.
Yeah.
And when I say meditation, that I do that anyway, but I go harder with it and longer. You know what I'm saying? I will
Right.
walk outside barefoot, um, and I'll sage. So just like everything you said, it is sometimes absolutely necessary. People, again, do not realize that we take on a lot when we take on clients. We take on a lot of their energy. So
Yes.
you have to step back sometimes. You're like, hold on, let me do me for a little while.
Right.
So
Because that
uh,
energy can come in quicker than you can cleanse that energy off of you if you're not careful.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely. So we got a question in the chat box. She says, Black Enchantress says, good. Well, glad to see you back on here. And she is asking, what is good protection work for occultists in your opinion?
um, I feel like the basic stuff really, I mean, it's basic, and a lot of people don't like to, if it's not huge and elaborate, a lot of people want to be like, nah, it's not going to work. I have charms in my door, chicken foot charms. I have a garlic and chili pepper bay leaf charms hanging in my door, my back door, and I take it down and I charge it and pray over it. You know, I have video on my YouTube channel how I do all of that, but it's as simple as guarding yourself, guarding your home. What I just did recently, because before Halloween or on Halloween, I was doing some work, doing some dark work. Um, so I feel like if you're indulging in dark work, and because I have children here and a lot of different things, my first priority was cleanse them kids, cleanse me, and then put us into a mirror box. So that's one of the things that I just did recently. You could do a mirror box. It's pretty much just full of herbs, and I think I use like the breastplate of Solomon, and I put it in that box and activated and all that, and pray. And I'm still praying over it every day. It's a ritual thing. There's no one. You can't light one candle and expect you to be like, I can't be touched. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely not. Like, you have to really put that energy in there. So that's actually still going on. So that's one of the things that I do. I keep my house cleansed, number one. I could have put us in that box, but what's the point of putting us in a damn mirror box to protect us if we locking ourselves in a bunch of mess? So my kids were spiritually cleansed. I was spiritually cleansed. Then immediately after, we were placed in that box. I really like the mirror boxes. It is meant to deflect any darkness, any, baneful energy that is meant to suppress and hold you down. So that's one way. That's more long-term work. Any container spells. I'm in love with container spells. I like to do reversals quite regularly. I know a lot of people look at me kind of sideways, like, why are you doing reversals all the time? But I'll do it like 3 times a month. If not, I'll keep one going, just like I do with my ancestral candle. There's always one going. 7-day candle, 7-day words. You have a lot of options. That is such a vast question. It's like, I feel like more so you should focus on the steps in which things should be. Because like I said, you don't want to lock yourself in a mirror box if you're not cleansed. You need to get in a regimen where you're cleansing your home, cleansing yourself regularly enough to be able to do these workings, protection workings, and be good. But like I said, there's a lot of methods. Like I said, I use charms. I have my ancestors that I ask for protection. I keep candles lit to deflect. And I keep us in a mirror box. That's just something that I do. It really depends on what you have access to. I practice voodoo and root work. So, I can just go in my damn kitchen and whip up some herbs, and, seasonings, boil them and put them in my water. That can be, there are protection spiritual baths. Of course, you got to keep that up. And that's probably the roughest part of protection. And, this is something that I have been living by, like the past year. Is what is that quote? This is what I tell a lot of people recently. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay. I can't remember who said that. I don't remember who said it. Y'all can Google it. It'll pop up. But I was seeing that everywhere. And that was something my ancestors brought to me. I went to the doctor's office, with my children. It was on the wall. It was on the wall in their room. I saw it in a book. I saw it online. I was seeing it everywhere. There was no way in hell that same quote was going to be popping up everywhere. But you got to keep that in mind. You don't want to wait until the last minute to do what you're going to do magically, for protection spiritually. And of course, you want to do some stuff, not just to protect yourself spiritually, but also physically, because we got some crazies out here. And then also this ring, I work with the spirits of the dead. I wear this ring. This does not come off. This is like a wedding ring. So I've consecrated it so that the spirits of the dead that I work with walk with me. They protect me. So now every time something go down, I'm hearing popping. My jars are popping. I know my jars in my room start popping. I know they're trying to get my attention. My ears start ringing. It's my ancestors. It's just a matter of, making sure you're protected and being proactive about it before you actually need it. But the method of which you can protect it is so vast. You have so many different options. Just what I threw out there with the charms to protect your home and the mirror box that I do, that's just my choice. That's just I don't know. Next week, I probably might do something else to add on top of that. But it is important to build these things. So
That's great answer. You know, like you said, it's so vast, and one of the things that I do is I use railroad spikes. You know, iron. I'm a big fan of using iron in
Yeah.
all four directions. You know, so anything that comes is immediately deflected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I have those outside of my house too, on each corner. And it really is, it's for protection, but not only for protection. And also have a horseshoe over here. So that's another way. That's what I'm saying about the charms and different things you can use to guard your home. But my railroad spikes were specifically for protection and also to nail down my property. You
Right.
know, so I can't be kicked out. I can't be this. I can't. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of different types of protection. So when you say protection, you really kind of got to get specific because there's so many different things for in so many different ways. You know that you need protection and what you would want to use it for.
Great answer. Like I said, you really touched on most of the protection work for occultists, y'all. You have another question. Alicia Arthur asks, "How do you cleanse your children?"
How do I cleanse my children? I usually put them in spiritual bath. I'm a huge spiritual bath person. I like to, I think that's probably going to be one of the next videos that I upload, like how I do that. Um, I'll take dry herbs. I will take fresh herbs even, and I'll mix it. I don't like to put the herbs directly in my tub. I like to boil them and I pray over them. My process is kind of lengthy, not too lengthy, but I put a lot into it that way. I love working with the Bible. I don't believe you're practicing hoodoo if you do not work with the Bible. It's just a part of, hoodoo. Um, so as I'm bathing them, I'll have one of the Psalms or whatever Bible verse or chapter usually playing as I'm bathing them in their spiritual bath. So I'll wash my children, and usually this is what we do in my house. We will do the shower, and then we will immediately after get into a spiritual bath. So that's what I do with my kids. I will wash them. They're kids. They're dirty all, especially my little boy is 3. So I'll wash them normally, drain the tub, put them back in, and my son specifically was having a lot of issues with nightmares. And I feel because I work with the spirits of the dead, and at one point I was doing a lot of dark work, I feel like something was bothering him in the house. We see shadows and stuff all the time. It's just a conjure house. But it is important to protect your babies. So my kids' room is shielded, number one. I always cleanse their room spiritually, salt in their corners, the salt in the corners of their room, palm oil under their bed. I'll even put water under there, replace it every Friday. But as far as the nightmares, how I started dealing with that and when I started seeing things getting better is chamomile. It's great for nightmares and sleep specifically for your kids. So you can brew a bunch of chamomile, or all I use in my spiritual bath is about a cup to 2 cups of whatever herbal blend, and I add it to the water. It's just prayed over, blessed, consecrated, and then I'll bathe them with that. You know, so chamomile is really good for kids, especially if they have problems sleeping with having nightmares and such. They'll sleep through the night. So
Okay, good, good, great answer again. It's a lifestyle, people. You see it
it's
here,
a lifestyle.
Shadow Witch Seductress. Let's go back to your. You say you're a fan of. Did you say charm? Uh, jar spells. That what you said?
Yes, I love jar spells. I love container spells. I'm
Tell-
obsessed. If I don't, I'm sorry.
I said, tell us why.
Okay. Because I find with my experience that, like I said, I work with the spirits of the dead. So I have an altar downstairs I just put up for them, and I have a whole nother altar upstairs so I can work with them simultaneously, two workings at a time. Um, so there are 2 ways that I work my roots. I will work within containers such as jars, mirror boxes, things of that nature. And then there's sometimes I just use a candle. Like the attraction candle work, walking 2 people too close together, a 7-day candle, to draw money, whatever that may be. I find that the candle magic is effective, but there's only so that energy lingers around so long before, you have to keep that up. You have to keep that up. You got to keep burning, keep praying constantly just like you with your ancestor candle. And I don't have time for that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, granted, the container spells do have maintenance, but what is this right here? I have a jar right here. It's a sweet jar. It's just sugar water in there with some herbs and stuff, that I did on behalf of my mother for some stuff that she had to do. She needed in her favor. And you like this, I worked it one time, put a tea light on there, and all I do is shake this bitch. That's all I do. Shake it. I keep it in my purse. If I'm walking around cleaning the house, I'll put it in my pocket. That's a big ass jar, but you can use different size jars. That's why I like container works, because it's like you don't have to keep burning candles, and that's why I hate to see people doing honey jars and sweet jars. They keep burning. It's like this thing needs to keep moving. That's why I started using sugar water and maple. I don't use honey. You will rarely ever see me using honey for sweet work. But I mean, I digress. But container works, I feel they last a lot longer. The energy is still going. It really depends on the container, because some things I can put on my shelf and not touch, and it's fine. Some things I have to keep it shaking and moving. Some things I put in a freezer, and the energy is still going. So it really depends, but they just require less maintenance. They require a lot less maintenance.
Something that you said there, yeah, my vinegar jars. When I have to use vinegar jars, I'm a big fan of those because they are not only are they effective, but like you said, I live by that same principle. You don't have to constantly put candles on it. The energy
Right.
is there. I go and if I'm doing a vinegar jar on somebody, God forbid if I'm doing a vinegar jar on somebody. But if I'm doing
No, that's
a
right.
vinegar jar on somebody, um, I'm not constantly burning the candle. I burn the candle once, but the candle is dressed with oils and herbs. And
Right.
then I am shaking that motherfucker like 3, 4 times a day. And many times as I can remember, I'm going in and I'm shaking that motherfucker like
Yeah.
that. It's a while. I'll work that jar for a while, for days, until I send it to the landfill to
Right.
complete my work. To what? How do you say the words I'm looking for? To set it off.
Ground it,
Yeah, yeah.
launch it, whatever you want.
To launch it, right,
Yeah.
right, to launch it, yeah. So yeah, I'm a fan of jar spells myself, but vinegar jars, I put some effort, I put some ingredients in them.
Baby, that's what I was doing on Halloween. I got 3 motherfuckers upstairs in my room, and I've been having to cleanse my ass every night because that energy, like I'm seeing shadows all through my room. My kids coming in, I'm like, y'all better get the hell out. Y'all not coming. Like, honey, I don't do a lot of dark workings. I don't like to, especially them vinegar jars and them sour jars. Like, you really fuck somebody's life up with them. So it's like that energy. I'm only on like a few. Like I said, I started on Halloween with that, so I'm only like so many days in. So I'm just like, let me get this. Let's get this, and then let's get it out. Because
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. So
very,
what about doll magic? Are you a fan of that?
I am. I don't use it a whole lot because you got to be really responsible with that. A lot of people think you can just whip up a doll if they know how to do it the correct way at all, and just leave it be after you forget about it. Like, no, there's somebody's spirit in this doll, or, especially if it's for you, um, like somebody in my family who practices, they'll make dolls to draw in for themselves.
Mm.
I make dolls usually when I'm trying to bind 2 people together, and they usually go in a jar. That is the only time. That's why, because I know me. I'm all over the place. And I'm the type that keeps lists and sticky notes pinned to my nightstand and my wall in my kitchen, so it's like I have to go the extra mile to remember something. So as far as dolls, I don't really, I just know how much maintenance goes into it, and I know I can't give it that much attention. So when I do use them, like I said, they're going in container, like container work, like we were just talking about.
Right, right. I only use dolls for dark work because that is a great fetish for fuck somebody up. So if I've said this on previously, if I have gone to that length to get to that point, then you deserve this ass whooping you're about to
I agree.
catch.
I
And I can think as a Virgo, I can think of some diabolical shit if you have crossed me, because I don't cross people just to, fuck somebody. That's just not my nature. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
I've gotten to the point where I got to use magic. Then it's pretty much like if we was on the street, it's just like an ass whooping on sight.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, a lot goes into dolls, like pennies and needles. I just bought 3 of them from a Halloween store on Saturday, um, because the wife was like, let's check out the Halloween store because everything's discounted.
Discounted. Right.
Right. So I bought some dolls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gut them and I'll put my own shit in it and consecrate it. So
See, when I do my dolls, I'll do them from scratch too. Like I'll get the flannel,
that's more
you
energy.
know, and one of the things that I'm currently learning how to do is, the sweet apple head dolls. That's one thing that I've been, really looking into and being guided with spirit too. Because I know at some point I'm going to have to use it. Spirit's bringing it up, but
Yeah.
they do take a lot of maintenance.
Yes, they do. I carefully crafted one once, so I had no other option. I used clay to do it, or I just can't find a way where I can do one with wax. I would love to do one with wax. So
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out, but that's not a big focus of mine. Is doll magic, but doll magic is a fetish, and traditional African magic, they use fetishes. They're big fans of it. So they do work, especially when you can
Right.
establish a strong link between the doll and the person. Then got some shit
Right.
on it. Okay. What are some everyday items that you carry with you? Like I wear this everywhere. This was
Uh-huh.
made by another practitioner.
hmm
I can say how much it costs, but it was expensive because she handcrafted it for me and certain crystals on it. But what are some of the everyday items that you either carry with you or wear?
Like I said, this ring, it was consecrated on my spirit altar. This is definitely something I never take it off. I never take it off. If I do, it's very brief. Um, but this is definitely something I carry with me. I have a little mojo bag I call Benjamin because he don't bring me nothing less than a Benjamin at a time. So I'll carry my mojo bag. Um, I have a clear quartz necklace that I have upstairs. When I'm at home, I don't tend to wear anything on me. I spend a lot of time at home. But usually it's just that quartz, and I'll charge it as it. I don't wear it just for like protection or just for this. I literally charge it and, reactivate it for whatever I may need it for, whether that's attraction, whether that's for money drawing, whether that's for protection, depending on whatever I need it for, that's when I'm charging it for. So I wear that. The ring is definitely one, and usually my mojo bag, but not too much. And in my purse, I keep an evil eye. I do keep evil eye in my purse. Little evil eye charm. 'Cause I'm in Huntsville. I'm a city slicker. I'm from the South, but I got the spirit of I like to shop. Okay, I like my pantsuits. I like to look good. So I stick out like a sore thumb here. And something being here for almost 2 years now in Huntsville, Alabama. A lot of people they're either really drawn to me or they're really um they get jealous. So I don't play with that. I got to keep that evil eye on there, you know. And we got a huge spiritual community here. A lot of reckless witches, but they got power on them. You don't ever underestimate your enemy. So I stay strapped with that evil eye when I walk out the door.
Well, that's the city code also. I'm from Philadelphia, and you don't underestimate people, period. I've seen I've seen tiny guys beat the hell out of me. big guys, football player type guys. So
Yeah,
that carries over to the occult too. So never underestimate anybody. You don't know what people are capable of.
exactly.
You got so many dabblers. Um, so many dabblers because I said in my last video, being a witch and being witchy is now trending, and I hate it. I absolutely
I
hate
do
it.
too.
You know what I'm saying? So, give us your thoughts. Speaking on that note, what do you think about dabblers?
I feel like it's dangerous, number one, because I feel like people underestimate that the order of which you need to go about doing things. Um, there are such things as chaos, magic, and different. We have a lot of access spiritually to a lot of things, even dabblers. But the thing is, it's like I feel it's extremely dangerous. I feel like you should do whatever the fuck you gonna do if you can get away with it spiritually. But it's very rare that you can get past the universe with some shit, and it takes it to another level when you're dabbling. That's what I was like that quote I was telling you about before. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. A lot of people do not take their protection and their cleansings very serious. So it's like we have to keep in mind that we're not just trying to deflect anything that somebody's directing at us or what we're picking up daily that we're just coming into. We're also picking up and taking on the little bits of energy at a time of the workings that we are performing. So it's like, what you mean you don't cleanse? What you mean you don't have protection? Are you fucking crazy? And then you wondering why you people think they're hexed, they think they're clean, when it's like you just got a bunch of build up bullshit on you that you brought on your goddamn self because you out here dabbling. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times it usually takes going through attack or going through a huge major block spiritually before somebody understands the importance of it. And that's my biggest concern with dabblers and people who don't really use this as a lifestyle, but as a tool to, oh, I need this, so let me do this real quick. But throughout the week, you're not maintaining, throughout the month, throughout the years, you're not maintaining. That's just my biggest thing with dabblers. It's dangerous too, on another note, because spirits don't play that shit. This is equal exchange. So if they feel like you're coming in to utilize their energy and you think you walking away without putting in what they have put in, then you're gonna get your ass got. You think you out here afraid of these witches, throwing shit. When a spirit decides to come for that ass, it's a whole nother ball game.
That is so fucking true. That is so true.
Right.
Social media, I blame for the dabbling and the trendy witch shit right now. But
Most definitely.
I fucking hate it. That's we got another question from our audience member. At what point, and this question is from Alicia. At what point, when you are preparing for a court sentence reduction, should you begin your work, or is an ammonia jar the correct working to proceed with?
I really feel like it depends. Everything is custom. I don't believe in these pre-made candles you go to the Botanica to pick up. I will get a white 7-day candle, melt that bitch down, add my oils, add my herbs, of course they're charged. You really have to customize everything almost very nitpicky, not too nitpicky, but it's everything is different. So it really depends on the nature of what you're up against. If you could be from a plaintiff or a defendant's point. I'm not sure. It really depends. I don't believe in doing any work without consulting spirit. Um, so I really love ammonia jars, but that's a very basic working for court. I feel like with court workings, I would, first of all, as soon as you know you got to go to court, you already know it's time to put in that work.
Right.
You need to start immediately and keep it up every day. And that's where I would probably go the more candle magic route. You want to go towards container works in terms of sweetening that judge. I just recently did a beef tongue work. There's a lot of different things that I would do for a court case. I'm one to cover every corner of my ass, okay, before leaving anything to chance. But I really feel to really, because everything needs to be customized, because spiritually, you like one person might use this and another person might use this, and they work totally different for each other. um, I feel like you really need to seek spiritual counsel, whether you know divination on your own or whether you go to somebody to see exactly what you need, because you never know all the factors. Your opposer could be playing tricks, lying. There could be spiritual works against that. You never know. It can go in so many directions. That gets pretty vast too. That's why I feel like, every work is customary, like, because you have to customize it. It really depends on the circumstance, so I can't really go too much into that. Um, like I said, it really depends on what position you're sitting in that courtroom.
And I would add to that you can attack from all angles. As soon as you know who you're up against, the judge, plaintiffs, um, legal counsel, put those on in your shoe, your right shoe.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you can start immediately. Now, if you have
Mm-hmm.
to go to court, get some galangal to chew on, it like she said, it's a lot to that. So weigh your options and see what your plan of attack would be.
Right. And don't expect to do just one work now.
Right, because you're going up with against so much. And last time I did a court case for a client, I had to buy expensive ass beef tongue. I didn't know how expensive it was until I bought
Ooh,
the motherfucker.
$20, $30 for one tongue.
Yeah, that's what it costs me money.
Yeah.
Then the work I had to put on it, in the end, he got the outcome. But it's just like Shadow Witch said, it's a couple different factors when considering something for the court. I'm looking in the chat box. That's why I got quiet for a second.
You're good.
Yeah, Shamanic Mystic says TV is to blame too. There are a lot of witch shows out there. Charm, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the originals, American Horror Story, Covered, and Apocalypse.
I don't really blame. I can't really sit up here and blame TV though, to be honest, because it's like I'm. Come on now, we all know how media works. Like how weak-minded do you have to be led astray? And I understand there's some shit out here that can really, have you tossing it, like really like wondering. But it's like it's fucking Hollywood. Like, come on, this is TV. Um, there is truth to everything, but you got to understand they're not putting anything out there and making it easy for you. You know what I mean? So for you to think it's easy to just watch Charms or just watch what is that movie? Why does a feather stiff as a board? And you think you can just really go behind that in the craft.
The Craft. Yeah.
So it's like if you really think you can go behind that and recreate what you're seeing successfully, then where the fuck is your head at? They're not about to give you that power. They sitting up here scaring you from this shit for a reason.
Right.
So I can't really blame TV and media too much. We have control over our perceptions, and a lot of people are just so quick to follow along with the trend, and that's the issue. It's like we have too many people out here who are followers and who are sheep. They're not willing to do their own research and come up with their own conclusions. They're just going with whatever sounds good. I'm a Virgo. I'm ruled by Mercury, baby. I can make something sound good. Anybody can, So it's like really do your research, come up with your own conclusions. And that's what it comes to. Too many people out here just following a trend, following keyword. So
Absolutely. You had said earlier that you're really not practicing hoodoo unless you do Bible stuff.
right.
expand on that? Elaborate a little bit.
Because you have to keep in mind where hoodoo comes from. That is folk magic from the slaves. And when we were slaves, we could not practice our native spirituality and practices. If we were caught, we would be killed. So it's like the only thing that Master gave us was a Bible. We weren't even allowed to read. So it's like we disguised a lot of our workings by using that Bible. You know, we disguised a lot of what we did through the church, through Christianity. And so it plays a huge role in hoodoo. I just don't feel, I feel like it's such a huge role in hoodoo. I don't feel that it can be left out.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That is one of the key components of hoodoo. And a lot of people who are trying to get into hoodoo tend to leave that out. I'm like, okay, so you need to go back and read a little bit more about how hoodoo started. So,
Right.
what made you stop? I've been stopped. I stopped over a year ago. What made you stop with love stuff?
Um, I feel like love is very tricky, number one. You never know your outcome. I'm not speaking from just working with clients. I'm speaking in terms of doing work myself. A lot of people, when I say you never know the outcome, it's not necessarily like, oh, it's a 50-50 chance it'll work. It'll work. But there you magic doesn't change someone's true nature. You can
Right.
influence them, you can manipulate their mind, but in their actions, but at the end of the day, it's a very sensitive balance, you know. So it's like a lot of times we don't even know the people that we are working on. We don't know, was they daddy in the house, did they teach him how to be a man? You know, like, so a lot of the people we are working on and we're trying to get results out of, they have so many fucking issues. And a lot of times, a lot of these people do have mental problems because I believe personally, because they've been through so much trauma and pain. It's like you're going to magic because you wonder why, you know, because you're like, I want this from this person. And it's like, you can only get so far, you know, especially if you don't know the person that you're working on. It just takes so much.
It does.
And it's like you can get your results, but baby, you're gonna get it under some really fucked up circumstances if you bury that man's drawers in that backyard. You know what I mean? So some shit I don't want to touch because I feel like there's a thin line between love and obsession in that case.
Thank you.
A lot of people do not love themselves enough to understand what love really is. And I really feel like if you really love somebody, I really feel like it should be mutual. I feel like the true love spells to me are the ones that are you know, like, it's not really oppressive. I don't like to call love spells that are meant to target a specific person love spells. That's a form of domination to me. That's dark work to me. You know, a love spell is when you're trying to keep the peace in your marriage, when you're trying to keep things going, you know, in a positive direction in your current relationship you already have. A real love spell is drawing in, doing work to draw in somebody who is fit for you. So it's so much. That right there is vast to really go into, because especially with a lot of the people I've worked with and the clients I've worked with, you know, it's like I can bring that man back to you, but when I pull in these cards, I keep getting this emperor in reverse, honey. So he's coming back, but he's probably coming back with another hoe, and he probably trying to ask you to do some polygamous shit with you. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, you can't. It can go so many ways, and you can bind this person, but it's like you never know in any work, love magic, any magic, how it's going to affect somebody. I have seen in tranquil work two different ways on two different people. One could make them real meek, the other person can resist, and it can turn them into a monster. You know what I mean? So it's like you really got to be careful with love work. It's just really risky. It's really risky.
And that's one of the reasons that I stopped a while ago. Uh, the draws in the backyard is the best example in my experience, and I said this on a couple of videos. This was the result of me telling her to bury this guy's drawers in the backyard. Yeah, he came back, but then he was obsessed when he came back. I warned that woman for a long time. You don't want this man back like that. You want revenge. So stop calling this love work when it's actually lust work. When you're just trying to beg somebody.
Right.
So now, when people come to me for love work, and I'm not the no, I'm sending you to somebody else. Because people, for one thing, are becoming unstable. You cannot, no matter how much magic you do, you cannot force someone to love you.
Right. Right.
So, uh, yeah. So that's. I'm so glad you said that. But I mean, I'm out of the game as far as love spells. So I refuse to fucking do it.
Right.
So, how is do you have a website?
I don't. I'm working on writing because I'm rebuilding from scratch right now. Like I just got my new channel up off the ground.
Okay.
I finally have a few, videos that I uploaded, and I'm gonna continue to upload on that. Um, but as far as a website, not yet, because there are some things that I want to offer, to people. There are powders, there are different things that I make. I'm really good with herbs, especially with spiritual cleanses and washes and things of that nature. Charms, different things that I really want to get out there to people. So I'm really trying to figure out how I want to go about it. So no, I don't have a website right now. I have a Tumblr. That's really small though. But the majority of what I'm doing is on YouTube. And, of course, with clients one-on-one who already have access to me, they don't need YouTube anymore. My email, they can just hit me up. So it's just about what direction I want to expand in. But website it could definitely be a part of, the new year.
So in the chat box, we have another question. So, I am very unlearned to the ways of hoodoo. Any book suggestions would help a lot. Take that.
Books. Um, I don't really like to learn from books too much. Hoodoo is they've changed it so much. There's so many different things out here now. It's just like I said, I don't fuck with honey when I'm doing a sweet jar. It runs too damn slow and then it crystallizes after a certain time. Then you stagnate your shit.
Slow. It is. That's my issue. That's why I stopped honey jars too, because and you get the results, but it's so slow. Then you think about it. Honey moves slow, and that's
Right.
exactly what happens. Yeah. So I get you on that. I didn't mean to
So
interrupt. I just had to chime in on that.
you're good. You're good. So it's like there's a lot of things like that I don't like that are being taught within hoodoo. It's like it's good to teach them. This is going to bring a sweetening element to the work, but it's like reconciliation, sweet honey jar. Um, you're not gonna see that man in the next 3 years. You may as well use molasses.
Right.
But it's just I'm seeing the teachings of hoodoo in all over the place. I'm seeing all kinds of things. I'm seeing people trying to use sour jars and vinegar jars to break up couples. And it's like, do you not realize these are not breakup jars? These are meant to fuck somebody's life up in totality. So while you're trying to get that man back by separating them, you're actually fucking up his life. And if he does come back to you, as a result, that you're exposed to that energy now. So it's like there's a lot of things in books and even online, it's very hard to pinpoint what is legit and what's not. And people just don't know. It's okay for you not to know, but the fact of the matter is that there's false information out there. And we're practicing in metaphysics and spirituality. You cannot just all of this shit is not trial and error. There's a lot of stuff that if you fuck up one time, that's it. So it's like as far as books, I can't really tell you any books. I have this Power of the Psalms here that I work out of. This is a good book because, like I said, I don't believe if it's not hoodoo if you're not working out of the Bible now. So I feel like that's one of the good things that's good. The Power of the Psalms. To be honest, I don't have any books on hoodoo here. And then a lot of the stuff, I feel like your best bet will be finding a good traditional teacher, or somebody in your family who practiced it, or, you know, and a lot of times you're not just going to, once you get so deep into it, you're not just going to learn from books and teachers and people. Spirit's going to teach you some shit.
Right.
The majority of what I learned, because I'm still young, you know, the majority of what I learned through spirit, you know. So it's really, and spirit will also guide you to the right places and where you need to go. It's really important to establish a connection with your ancestors, especially if hoodoo and conjures in your bloodline. They are going to put you in the places where you need to be to learn what you need to know. So,
well, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you for joining me again. And how would someone contact you if they wanted to contact you for some work?
well, I have my YouTube channel. It's Shadow Witch Seductress. You can just type that in the search bar and I'll pop up. Also Shadow Witch Seductress 1@gmail.com. You can email me directly. I don't like to give out my personal number unless you're like a client. That's probably why a lot of people were like, where the fuck did she go? Because if you didn't work with me heavily, and I had so many people I worked with, I have so many people in my phone who still contact me, then you wouldn't, then to you, I would have disappeared. So if you want to, I'm not going to give out my personal number unless I'm doing personal work for you. But the easiest way, and I live out of my phone, yo. So just email me. Shadow Witch Seductress 1, like the number 1 @gmail.com. That's going to be the best way to contact me. And I think YouTube is like, don't they have like a messages through YouTube now?
Yeah, they do.
I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, you just reach out to me through email or that, you know. I'm really good with email. And then of course, after we've worked together, if you want a reading from me or any of that, then I'll definitely, you'll have more options to reach out. I'm definitely working on a Facebook page, you know, because I still have a lot of testimonials, a lot of photos of work, and a lot of different things that I have done and that I am doing for people and also myself. So that's coming pretty soon. But if you keep an eye out on my channel and you can also email me, then no problem.
Okay. Also, I'll put your information in the
Okay, cool.
description box here. And did you have any final thoughts for anybody who's viewing?
My biggest thing is spiritually make sure you taking care of yourself. Remember that quote. Remember that quote. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Y'all don't want to just wait until shit happens. You know, just cleanse yourself, protect yourself. There's just a lot. It's just too much. And we're still in a Venus retrograde and we're going into a Mercury retrograde. It's been rough. It's been rough. So remember that quote. That's what I want to leave you with today. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay.
That's all. Yeah, very profound. And once again, thank you. And I hope you'll join me again very soon for another interview or another tete-a-tete, another chat, or whatever you want to call it. I am Magick La Croix. I'd like to thank y'all for who showed up to view this, and I will see y'all again soon. Thank you to Shadow Witch Seductress for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Peace, y'all. Namaste.